I'm going to throw it over to Swamp News. Hello, everyone. My name is Swamp Johnson, and this is Swamp News. The FBI has opened an investigation into Elon Musk. What are the odds? In response, Elon Musk tweeted this: "If I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing you." And while that is a funny joke, it might actually happen. Elon Musk also said the Twitter deal was temporarily on hold pending details supporting calculations that spam and fake accounts do indeed represent less than 5% of users. It seems, and we're all shocked, that maybe Twitter has not been very truthful about a lot of things. Now, on to climate change and how Roe v. Wade has possibly being overturned has made things worse. We should not be having children, and, the climate's just so bad. We need to abort our children. But don't take my word for it.
You know you're a millennial when you question whether or not it's ethical to bring children into this world. Because of climate change. We don't really know whether or not the world's going to be habitable in 30 years. So why would I bring children into this world?
So I've had 2 abortions. Nothing medical. I just find it incredibly morally unethical to bring another human being, another child, into this late-stage capitalistic shit show that is causing the literal extinction of our species in our lifetime. This child that you want born so badly isn't going to live to see 30, and I need you to hear that. I need you to understand it. But enough about climate change.
While the rest of us sit back and watch the planet slowly die, and I know we all feel helpless, but there's one thing worth a try. Don't have a baby. Don't bring a new life in the world. I know they're cute with their little hands and the way their fingers curl, but don't have a baby. Resist that primal urge to breed, 'cause give it 10 or so more years and they won't be able to breathe.
Truly beautiful and brave. Now, this is the part where I had wanted to report on the Russia-Ukraine situation, but YouTube has made it very clear how they feel about honest reporting on the war in Ukraine. Notification. Due to the war in Ukraine, we will pause monetization of content that exploits, dismisses, or condones the war. Now, what exactly any of those things could mean, as always, is very unclear. A Wisconsin school district filed a Title IX complaint against 3 middle school students, accusing them of sexual harassment for using incorrect pronouns when addressing other students.
An investigation into 3 Kiel middle school students has been launched.
The school district has filed a Title IX complaint accusing the students of using incorrect pronouns while addressing another student. Fox 11's Monique Lopez spoke with the parent of one of the students in this Project Education report.
I received a phone call from the principal over at the elementary school forewarning me, letting me know that I was going to be receiving an email with sexual harassment allegations against my son.
Rosemary Rabidou's 13-year-old son, Braden, is one of the 3 8th-grade Kiel Middle School students accused of sexual harassment, something she disputes.
He said he's being allegedly charged with sexual harassment for not using proper pronouns. I thought it wasn't real. I thought this has got to be a gag, a joke. One has nothing to do with the other.
According to the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, or WILL, now defending the accused students, in March, one of their peers announced the pronouns they prefer to be addressed as, they or them. One of the alleged incidents Braden and the others were supposedly involved in happened in April.
She had been screaming at one of Braden's friends to use proper pronouns, calling him profanity. And this friend is, very soft-spoken and kind of just sunk down into his chair. And Braden finally came up defending him, saying he doesn't have to use proper pronouns. It's his constitutional right to not use. You can't make him say things.
Some might say or think that you or your son are against the LGBTQ plus community.
Not at all. Not at all. My children have been raised to love everybody equally.
Shortly after finding out her son was being investigated, Rosemary reached out to Will.
Title IX sexual harassment typically covers things like rape, dating violence, quid pro quo sexual favors, right? Really egregious stuff. There's nothing even remotely close to that alleged in this case.
Will says the school district's policy doesn't cover the misuse of pronouns, and neither does Title IX.
In other news, Nina Nina just will not stop proving to the country just how qualified she really is to be head of the Disinformation Governance Board, saying verified check marks on Twitter should be able to edit other people's tweets. But don't take my word for it.
And I am eligible for it because I'm verified. But there are a lot of people who shouldn't be verified who aren't, legit, in my opinion. I mean, they are real people, but they're not trustworthy. Anyway, so verified people can essentially start to edit Twitter the same sort of way that Wikipedia is, so they can add context to certain tweets. So just as a easy example, not from any political standpoint, if President Trump were still on Twitter and tweeted a claim about voter fraud, someone could add context from one of the 60 lawsuits that went through the court, or something that an election official in one of the states said, perhaps your own Secretary of State and his news conferences, something like that. Adding context so that people have a fuller picture rather than just an individual claim on a tweet.
Head of the Disinformation Governance Board. On Sunday, Bill Gates finally admitted that COVID really was no big deal.
It wasn't until early February when I was in a meeting that experts at the foundation said, there's no way, there's been too much travel without diagnosis for us to contain this. And then at that point, we didn't really understand the fatality rate. We didn't understand that it's a fairly low fatality rate and that it's a disease mainly of the elderly, kind of like flu is, although a bit different than that. So that was a pretty scary period, right, where the world didn't go on alert, including the United States, nearly as fast as it needed to.
So even with admitting that COVID really was not a big deal, Bill Gates' takeaway was we should have locked down faster. And this claim just has experts baffled. In other COVID news, Dr. Fauci, the man who has claimed that if you question him, you are questioning science, now has something to back up that claim. The University of Michigan has given Fauci the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
University of Michigan proudly presents you the honorary degree Doctor of Science.
By the authority of the state of Michigan, vested in the Board of Regents and by them delegated to me, I now confer upon you, Anthony Fauci, the degree Doctor of Science and admit you to all of its rights, honors, and privileges.
Dr. Fauci is now Dr. Science. And thankfully, we still have doctors who are worshiping the cult of Fauci. Here, Dr. James. Grocery shopping, 3/4 of the clients were masked. Only one employee was masked. Among the clients, only men were unmasked. Sounds like toxic masculinity, Dr. James. Masked grandmother looked terrified whenever an unmasked man passed her. Grocery stores should have masking hours only. This is something I actually would support because I don't want to see your mask. My name is Swamp Johnson, and this has been Swamp News. All right. Doctor of Science. Dr. Fauci, the Doctor of Science. What is wrong with these people?